Hi, Mr. Jones. So we continue. This is a continuation of the last one. Hi, Mr. Jones. Have you ever heard of Warren Buffett? He's a famous financier and investor. Yeah, that's the guy. Yeah, you know what he says about investing. It's the critical part is not how much you earn on your money, but a return of your money. So in the example I just gave you, the guy with the 500,000 trying to get to 1 million never even got a return of his money. He actually had a decrease or loss of his funds. So uh, keep that in mind as we go along. I'm going to use another example here where an individual takes $10,000 as an investment. And I'm going to compare two different strategies. One is the indexed investing where he's protected, and the other is the stock market investing. So look at this chart if you would, and I'm going to show him the $10,000 chart. Here's an individual, he puts $10,000 in the market, and he has a good year. It earns 10%. So you can see the 10,000 goes up from 10 to $11,000. It's a good year. In fact, he has another good year. The 11,000 goes up another 10% in the marketplace, and that 11,000 is actually now $12,100, and he's a happy camper. But the third year, we've got a problem. The market decreases 20%. And by the way, that actually happened. In fact, it went down even more, but we're using 20% as an example. So the $12,100 investment that he had in the market after the 20% loss, as you can see on the chart, became $9,600 in the regular stock market investing. However, in the indexed investing, don't forget, he was protected from the down market. So he kept the $12,100 in that market. And let's assume the next year, as this actually happened too, there was a second down year. In this case, we assume 17%. So his $9,600 in the stock market went down another 17%. It now became $7,900. So he invested 10,000, had some good years. Now he's down to $7,900. But if he had been an indexed investor, don't forget, he keeps the gains. He's still at $12,100. Now let's assume in the next year there's a recovery. Sometimes there are recoveries in the stock market. We get a 15% gain in the stock market. The guy that's investing in the stock market, and I'll show this on the chart, yes, don't forget, he's starting from $7,900. He gets a 15% gain. He has a good year. He goes from $7,900 to $9,000. The individual that invested with the index strategy, remember, kept his $12,100. He never went down. Kept his $12,100 and got the 15% on top of that. Okay? So he's ending up with over $13,500 compared to the $9,000 that the other individual had. So again, which one would you rather have? 13,500 or $9,000? That's really the power of the indexed investing. That's why Warren Buffett says it's not just what you, not so important about what you earn. It's what getting a return of your money. So that's another thing. The other thing, as I mentioned, this is all tied to Standard & Poor's, which again is the strategy for the index. You're not actually investing in the market. You're simulating the return that the Standard & Poor's 500 would get in the marketplace, but you're not actually invested in the market, so you don't have any risk. If the Standard & Poor's goes up, you get it. Standard & Poor's goes down, you keep your gains. That's basically, excuse me, it's basically what index marketing is all about. I'm going to use another strategy where an individual is using his 401k. 401k is a great thing. 401k, in fact, it's only good really if it's matching. In other words, you put some money into your 401k, it's matched by the employer, okay? So if you put in, most employers have like a 4 or 5% match. You put in 4 or 5% of your income, and let's assume that's $1,000 or whatever it's going to be, and then they match it by $1,000. That's pretty good. The only problem is it's not been taxed. So there's two problems. It's not been taxed ever, so it's all taxable. And the other thing is, if you need to access it before age 59 and a half, the government says, wait a second. In addition to the taxes, there's also going to be a penalty of 10%. So here's what happens, Mr. Jones. If you imagine a guy who's investing in his 401k for retirement, but needs to have a $10,000 pullout because he's been out of work for a while and he's had expenses. Maybe he's become slightly disabled, or he's paying for his daughter's wedding, or whatever the case is going to be. He's not age 59 and a half yet, and he needs $10,000. What is he going to keep out of that $10,000? Well, the first thing he's going to incur is a 10% penalty from the IRS. That's $1,000. And he's also going to pay a 35% tax approximately on the full $10,000. That's 45% coming out. So he's only keeping 55% of what that $10,000. He's only getting $5,500 approximately. And that's the problem with the 401k. It's taxable eventually, and if you need your money before age 59 and a half, the government says there's a penalty. The other problem is, even if you take your money out years from now, I don't know what the tax rate's going to be. I mean, in France, it's over 50%. I don't know if it's going to be that way here in this country, but we're certainly not headed towards decreased taxes, at least not at the moment. So that's the gotcha with the 401k.